Welcome to the Lesson 10 of the Positive Psychotherapy Introductory course. It outlines conflict model in positive psychotherapy. Nossrat Peseschkian's psychodynamic conflict model presents the differentiation of the content that is the point of contention and its internal evaluation. This model differentiates between the actual conflict that appears in an overburdened situation, the pre-existing basic conflict, and the unconscious inner conflict which causes physical and/or mental symptoms. Conflict presents the apparent incompatibility of inner and outer values and concepts, or an inner ambivalence. Emotions, affective states, and physical reactions can be understood in this context as signal lamps that indicate an inner conflict of values and the distribution of actual capacities. Therefore, in positive psychotherapy, a question is asked about the content: what causes or triggers this emotion? The repetition of these many small psychic injuries, the always and again, with the microstress that is received from them, is what Nossrat Peseschkian calls microtraumas, the so-called trivia, or trifles, in contrast to single, major life events, which are macrotraumas. Nossrat Peseschkian described these microtraumas, which bear conflict content, in terms of actual capacities. They facilitate and form relationships and, on the other hand, are poised to become conflict content under specific conditions. The capacities attain this function in an actual conflict, a triggering situation that places too much demand on the previously effective coping mechanisms. Such a situation wakes up an old, unconscious basic conflict, as the patient is trapped between his or her primary emotional needs on one side, which are represented by primary capacities, such as trust, hope or tenderness, and evaluations on the other, which are described as secondary capacities or social norms such as orderliness, punctuality, justice, or openness. The compromise that had worked out the basic conflict before no longer functions. An inner conflict is the result, standing between two values in a dilemma. This evokes symptoms that can be viewed as attempts at a solution. The conflict reactions can be presented using the balance model. Although such reactions cannot bring about a solution, they still have influence. Disorders can occur when these capacities, virtues, concepts, or values are now repeatedly applied in a one-sided way without the modification appropriate to the present situation. The continuing repetition of family, basic concepts, that were appropriate at an earlier stage of development or of compromises made with them at an early stage, basic conflict, leads to an unconscious inner conflict. Psychic, psychosomatic, or bodily disturbances then occur and become the unconscious expression of the inner conflict. These manifestations fulfill an important function in the conflict by acting as the speech of the body or the spirit. Thus, the disorders have the function to help the client to express something subconsciously and have a specific meaning for the particular patient. Positive psychotherapy proceeds so that areas that have previously been neglected, capacities that have seldom been used and must be developed, are strengthened both within the therapeutic relationship and in the stress of the everyday environment to enable patients to resolve conflicts constructively and to restore inner and outer balance. This was the 10th lesson about conflict model in the positive psychotherapy.